and our weekly video segment to take you into the back shelves of your local video store, back where it says horror videos, and where kids are devouring some awful films that we call the video nasties.
Are you freebasing? Inquiring minds want to know.
I have to break free from this culture of mechanical reproductions and the thick incrustations dying on the surface.
Fuck the prime time, bitch!
Mom with the new flesh.
The pain, I can assure you, will be exquisite. As for our deaths, come with me and be immortal.
We have such sights to show you.
Gotta return some videotapes.
Hello, horror hounds, and welcome to the It Slays podcast. I'm your fucking lit host, Rowan.
And I'm a greasy croissant Mike.
And it's Jill. And we are joined today with a special guest, and we are Coltonless. But we have my good friend, Anthony, who I think is a Terrifier expert. Anthony, say hi to the people.
Hi, people.
Hello.
Pod.
We appreciate you coming. Thank you.
Welcome.
That's right. We had to replace Colton because Colton just abandoned us forever, it feels. Which I don't see any tears being shed yet. I'm sure
crocodile tears, baby.
I'm sure we'll have his wrath when he comes back. Colton is at TIFF this week, so we can't disturb him while he's, I don't know, rubbing shoulders with celebrities. I don't know what he's really doing.
He's rubbing something.
Oh, shit. He might get kicked out of the theater.
I hope so.
He might have a real Pee Wee Herman situation going on. R.I.P. Let's get it started with what have we been consuming? What have we been watching? What have we been reading? What have you been listening to? I don't care. What have you been doing? And Jill, we'll start with you.
All right, it's going to be real disappointing for me. I've not really been consuming much lately. A lot of trash TV, including 90 Day Fiancé spinoffs and like whatever has been on TLC. Still watching True Blood, and honestly, the only thing that I really watched was by we, I mean me and Anthony and our friends. We went to a drive-in last weekend, and we watched Friday the 13th for the final chapter.
Oh,
so that
nice.
was a pretty cool experience. You know, it's getting into spooky season. It's getting a little colder. It's a good time to go to the drive-in, watch some horror.
Not going to give the camera a little Crispin Glover dance or anything, but that's okay.
It is okay. And because Anthony is my guest, what have you been consuming?
Yeah, I just started watching 101 Scariest Horror Movie Moments of All Time. That's on Shudder.
Awesome.
They got some good stuff on there. Watched The Haunted Honeymoon with Gene Wilder. It's an old movie. I rewatched it from when I was a kid, and man, it's all over the place, but it's still got some good funny moments. I've been playing some Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, Mike, I heard you talking about that. Yeah, they definitely got to do a little bit more to get it on that Friday the 13th level.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You know.
I'm confident they can do it.
Yeah, it's all about how much more content they can add in. I know there's some
Yeah.
new killers and a survivor they're going to add, so that's pretty much what I've been consuming.
How about you, Mike?
Well, since you asked, I finally watched and just finished today the first season, because I watched season 2 when it came on, of The White Lotus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because a couple of my friends were, like, you should watch it with us. And I was like, I haven't seen season 1. And they're like, you don't need to. So I watched season 2, and I've been meaning to watch season 1, for the last, I don't know, I feel like that was at least 6 months ago. So I said, fuck it. And I finally sat down and watched it. And I enjoyed
Season
it.
1's
Not as
the
much
best.
as season 2, though. Season 2, I liked it a little bit more, I think.
Get out of here.
Get out. Listen.
Listen. Nah.
The boat scene alone makes season 2 better in my books.
I really love Sydney Sweeney, so...
Oh, yeah, she is so good.
So, yeah, season 1 was it for me. The goat.
She is a queen. She's such a queen. She's like, on the HBO payroll permanently now, it seems. So I feel like at least twice a year she's gonna star in or guest star in something that they put out. So good for her. Bro, what about you? That's all I got, honestly. been watching White Lotus and vegetating.
I had to cover for Mike this week, I guess. So me and Exilia dived into some trash, and we've been watching Love is Blind on Netflix.
Nice.
The new season. So we've been enjoying the dumpster fire that is. I've, as nod to our horror hound Nicholas, I'm now on season 2 of the X-Files. I ripped through a bunch. I stayed up for 24 hours straight, just digging in. So I'm like halfway through season 2. Mike is getting a lot of my angry text messages that is just, saying, why the hell haven't these two fucked already? What's going on here?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I mean, it's the X-Files. And yeah, I did some rewatches pretty much this week. Rewatched Ambulance for like the 8 millionth time, because fuck yeah, Michael Bay. I rewatched Get Shorty. I was showing the young guy at work. He had never seen it, so we were getting into some old Travolta. I rewatched Movie 43, which is like notoriously the worst rated movie on Rotten Tomatoes, and of course I gave it like a 4 out of 5 stars.
Oh shit.
That's your way.
It's bad, but it's funny. Like, if you watch it late at night, it's definitely worth it. I did a rewatch of The Equalizer 1 and 2, because I actually plan on tomorrow, I gotta see our Now Slain movie, which will already be out when this episode's out, so it's The Nun 2. But, yeah, I plan on seeing The Equalizer also, the new one, because, Denzel Washington, he is daddy, so... That's how you have to do it. And what else did I watch? I watched some more trash. I watched the Depp versus Heard documentary on
I watched that.
Netflix. So,
Yeah.
so that was interesting because, like, a lot of people were, like, watching it at my workplace and stuff. So it was very interesting that, I think everyone was kind of, like, Team Depp, except for me. That was just kind of, like, Team No One. They're all trash. But, yeah, it was just, I guess we all lived the case during COVID and stuff, so.
Yeah.
It wasn't really any, like, new information. Just put together, like, a shitty Netflix true crime doc.
True, but the tides have shifted a lot. A lot of people are Amber Heard, like, on her team now, so.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so, things have changed. She's, like, living in, like, Spain right now with her daughter or something, and yeah, I don't know, but yeah, according to TikTok, everyone's pro Amber Heard, and I think she's got her spot back in Aquaman 3, so.
Oh, shit, she's making the comeback.
Yeah.
I've only ever seen her in
Aquaman 3,
so.
what?
I heard, I don't know, listen, TikTok, so I don't know if that's a reputable source.
True.
Is that where all you Americans get your news from? TikTok?
That's
Yes.
exactly where.
Yeah.
And Fox News.
And Fox News. Well,
Fox News.
I mean, only the gold standard, so. What else did I watch? Oh, I watched Extraction, because I guess I'm like an action movie bro now. But I actually I really liked it. Chris Hemsworth, like, for some reason, I just really like him when he's in movies that aren't Thor. And I thought this was pretty good. It's kind of like a Big 8 version of, like, John Wick or something. Like, it's along that lines. Like, this guy never dies.
Great value, John Wick.
And it's a lot of, like, like, single, or made to look like single shot film for, like, 40 minutes. And it's just like an action revenge type thing. So I watched 1 and 2 of that. Well, I watched a couple things. You
watched Looper? I saw that.
Oh, I did. Looper for the first time. And,
nice.
And Limitless, because anytime someone asks me if I've seen Looper, I think they're talking about Limitless, because I've seen neither one, and they just both have similar names.
No, they just both start with L, but true.
Yeah, whatever.
Ew, that was a Colton comment. I don't know what the fuck.
My
I feel like I'm being possessed right now.
You've been possessed.
Ew.
I like this.
I'm disgusted
It's like he's
myself.
whiplashed back into the Discord.
You're just gonna start like Tourette's yelling A24 in this bit, so.
The Witch.
The
I
Witch.
have to compare everything to The Witch.
Don't you mean the Vitch? The Vitch.
But yeah, I really liked Looper. Looper. Limitless was all right, but yeah, how I didn't know about Looper, because, you know, sci-fi is kind of my thing, so.
I saw that in the theater when it came out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was a big fan. One thing I wasn't a big fan of was To Catch a Killer. I forget her name. It's the woman from like Divergent and A Secret Life of an American Teenager or whatever.
Oh,
Shailene Woodley.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So yeah, she was in this, and yeah, it wasn't great. I'm not a fan of hers. The only thing that made it good.
Really?
Yeah.
You didn't love the superb acting in My Secret Life as an American Teenager?
I actually saw that show. Exili watched that show when it was coming out.
I used to watch it. It was so fucking bad. Like, it was superbly bad. But anyway.
But yeah, no, it was pretty bad. I did enjoy Ben Mendelsohn's in it. So I guess if you watch Secret Wars, he played Samuel L. Jackson's friend in it there. And also Ralph Ineson's in it. Shout out to The Witch that played the dad in The Witch.
Mm.
Why does every dude's name sound made up? I'm like, I've never heard of any of these men before.
That was another Colton comment.
Oh my god.
He is literally like infected our microphones. I'm just positive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. But yeah, no, and it's really hard to watch anything with Ralph in it and not think about him just yelling Thomason. So that was a little distracting. And the last thing I'll talk about, which was like my surprise of the week, which I always love, is I did a random, you know, it's 4:00 in the morning, I'm on Tubi, what am I gonna watch? And the answer is Animal Factory, directed by Steve Buscemi.
What?
No shit.
So
Okay.
I had no idea what it was, but the cast is actually pretty crazy. It stars William Dafoe, Edward Furlong, Danny Trejo, Mickey Rourke, John Hurd, Tom Arnold, like some pretty massive people. It's got like the guy with the big beard from Sons of Anarchy. And it's a prison movie. It's written by...
Oh, I was like, where are all the actresses? Okay,
oh,
prison.
yeah. It's a prison movie. Dafoe, as always, is amazing, but it's pretty good. It's based on a book, also called Animal Factory. I forget the guy that wrote it, but that guy was in Reservoir Dogs. It's like the old guy that was part of the gang. Mike's doing the quick look up.
Oh, well, I'm looking it up, yeah.
You can see the browser open up and his face.
Yeah.
Light up.
The paleness.
But yeah, it was surprisingly good. Like, it wasn't great. It was just kind of your standard, like, prison story. But I mean, William Dafoe is just fucking awesome. He acts the shit out of it. And it's always weird to see Edward Furlong in anything that isn't Terminator 2. Mostly because, like, he just, like, doesn't age. He gets, like, fatter, but he doesn't, like, look any older. So it's kind of interesting.
This man is so weird.
But yeah, that's everything I've been watching. So now we got to talk about the episode. The episode is 2016's Terrifier. Gill, this was your pick. So why don't you tell people why you chose this?
All right. I chose Terrifier because I think it's a major cult horror film series from the last several years, and we hadn't talked about it yet, which I thought was shocking. And it's something a bit different because of how much gore there is, and I think it was a great introduction into the spooky season. You know, we're in September.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
you know, we're making our way there, so I thought, why not?
All right. Well, then, with that, we will kick it on over to the trailer, and we'll be back for the synopsis and first experiences.
Police are on the lookout for a thin man wearing a clown costume.
What if he's out there watching us right now?
Look, that guy was just some douchebag in a costume.
He was different.
2016's Terrifier is directed by Damien Leone and written by Damien Leone, and the synopsis is as follows. A maniac clown named Art terrorizes 3 young women and everyone else who stands in his way on Halloween night. So our first experiences, is this our first time seeing it, or are we, are the clown stands? Do we maybe, I don't know, own t-shirts? Or have like life-size blow-ups that we just caress at night or something? We'll start with you, Mike.
Actually, this was my first time seeing this movie.
I thought you were going to say, actually, I have a blow-up of it.
Actually, I do. Listen, I didn't need to see the movie to know.
And his mouth stays open.
And it just occasionally, like, just leaks blood.
Sure.
Oh, it's not blood, honey.
If it is blood, you might want to go to the doctor.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. That's what's supposed to happen. Yeah, no, I'd never seen this before. And it's one of those that, like, just for whatever reason, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna watch that soon, and like just it always sort of like goes down the list whenever I'm putting something on. But yeah, when Jill slotted that in as one of her picks, I was extremely happy because that gave me an excuse to watch it. And Lord knows that y'all making me watch something the last couple months is the only way I get anything done. So what about you, Ro?
Yeah, I've seen this before a couple times. Obviously, like everything else, I've got it on Blu-ray. I remember this coming out, though, and all the hype coming out about it. So I was pretty excited when I had first seen it. But yeah, I'll save everything else for the review. But how about you, Anthony? Never seen it before?
Yeah, I actually saw it back in, I want to say 2017. Came out in 2016, but originally it came out on Netflix. So I saw some stuff on Instagram like about Art the Clown. I was like, what is this dude's deal? I was really curious about it. So I wound up watching it on Netflix, and it kind of just blew me away with some of the things they wind up doing in it. So yeah, that was my first experience with it. How about you, Jill?
Yeah, actually, Anthony is kind of the reason why I saw it. He introduced me to Terrifier. Like I said, he's a Terrifier stan. He's wearing a sweet Terrifier shirt right now, so you know he's got that swagger. But yeah, I've seen it a couple of times in pieces at like several parties last year, like a Christmas party, I'm pretty sure it was Anthony's Halloween party. But this is my first real intentional watch, not just sitting there at a party, you know, where, you know, there's people playing beer pong in the background, like screaming. So, you know, but yeah. I'll say this is my first real intentional watch.
Well, let's get into the meat and potatoes of everything. I didn't really have a witty one for this one. So let's start with our favorite kill and or favorite scene. You know what, Anthony? You're the guest. And I know what it feels like when these guys take your favorite scene and or favorite kill. Mm-hmm. So we'll let you start off so you can ruin it for someone else.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm sure this is going to be somebody's pick, but I want to say my favorite kill has to be obviously the hacksaw scene. You know, he just straps Dawn up. And honestly, the first time I've ever seen a kill like that in a horror movie. And that's one of the things that really blew me away is just, I mean, obviously how violent it was. And it just does something so different that I've never seen before. So
very nice. So the first time you've ever seen it, and you emphasized in a horror movie, so you have seen this in real life, though, right?
Yes, I have actually. You know, when I was Vietnam, I did a quick little tour over there.
I'm not gonna lie, it very much, and I assume this was part of the idea, but when I was a kid, like my father would always like hunt and stuff, and his friends and like his brothers, and they would go in our basement, because we had this like pretty big basement, and hang the animals from the rafters while they were like, you know, preparing them or whatever. And I'd like walk down in the basement to see what they were doing, and there's like a dead animal hanging from the ceiling.
Was it moose?
Oh, there was moose, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I remember. That's what I thought of when I saw that scene. I was like, oh my god.
It's literally, that's what it reminded me of. Like, Dad and his brothers coming home from hunting and like cutting up their, you know, prizes down in the basement. So it was definitely a little bit disturbing.
I like that if you just like take the hunting out, like your dad just sounds like a madman. It's like he hangs his prizes in the basement.
I chose that
He
word.
puts
on
the
purpose,
lotion
just to
in the
totally-
basket. How about you, Mike?
I mean, obviously, that's like I think the height of this movie. It was actually really hard to pick because every like kill was so kind of like cool and over the top. So I really did have an intensely hard time picking. But I will say that it's, I don't know if you call it a kill, but it's kind of like a bit of a kill and a bit of a scene. But it's funny that you bring up it puts the lotion on the skin. Because to me, it was the, like, Silence of the Lambs-y moment where, you know, he, like... Or Texas Chainsaw Massacre or whatever. It's reminiscent of, like, 20 other movies of wearing the skin and the scalping, like, putting on her wig. And it also reminded me of Saw, which was kind of cool. I was like, there's just so many callbacks here to, like, other things. And then he's, you know, just kind of prancing around. And it's very, like, Buffalo Bill dancing to Goodbye Horses. In Silence of the Lambs. So I don't know, I kind of like that because it just like totally took me out. I was like on the floor fucking laughing at it. I was like, this is so camp, it's like frightening.
Is it terrifying?
It's terrifying. It's a Terrifier. Yeah, and I was just like, oh my god, like... Yeah, I literally never know what the fuck is going to happen in this movie next. So, yeah, totally. Like, I mean, I guess you can call that a kill because it's sort of the aftermath of a kill. But I don't know. I just really like the vague homage to, you know, lots of other good movies. And unlike Colton, I'm not going to say, don't reference or show another movie that's better than that.
Dang.
Because I'm not going to say that.
I'm surprised Jill didn't just say it, so.
I know.
Speaking of Jill... What's your pick?
Well, you know, obviously I gotta go with the hacksaw split down the middle kill. It's so obscenely grisly and gruesome. You know, recently, me and Rowan watched The Tooth Fairy, where, you know, a dick got chopped off. And I feel like dicks getting chopped off in horror is, like, a pretty regular thing. Mm-hmm. You know, so now we kind of have a match female standard. You know, all the women are shuddering watching this scene. I mean, everyone is, but particularly the women seeing this. And it's so sick and fucking twisted. And the blood pouring down is Chef's kiss. I love that Dawn is suspended upside down with her arms bound. It almost looks like she had her arms severed until you can see them when she, like, wriggles around. I was like, oh my god, did he cut off her fucking arms? No, he didn't. You know, just split her down the middle. It's a great visual scene, but the pinnacle of this kill for me is when he grabs her phone and takes a selfie with her mutilated body. It's serving cunt and it's slang. I'm here for it. And I love it. What about you, Rowan? I'm sure we all stole it.
Hacksaw Down the Middle sounds like it could be like a good Screamo band like song, title of a song, maybe like Cannibal Corpse also, maybe. We'll see.
Also, Jill, don't look at my Letterboxd review because you pretty much just said it.
Really? I promise that I did not plagiarize.
No, I just did it just then, like about 5 minutes ago.
Oh, okay.
So probably my favorite scene, my favorite scene definitely in The Tooth Fairy is when a dick got cut off.
Oh yeah, did you know that a dick got cut off in The Tooth Fairy?
Call back to the Stream Screams where we repeatedly warned everyone that there was a dick cut off. No, so I did have a different favorite scene. Mine's kind of a kill, but not really because it's not an on-screen kill. But I love when we see the pizza shop supervisor's head on the counter with the, like, set up like the jack-o'-lantern. I just love that. Also, like, kind of a callback to, like, a bunch of different movies, like, kind of reminded me of, like, Trick or Treat, and, like, I can't even really think, but I've seen...
My Bloody Valentine, I was getting a vibe of,
Yeah, like, there's definitely lots of movies I've seen where we, you know, replace jack-o'-lanterns with people's heads. They must have done it in one of the Halloweens, I feel, like... If not, they're really missing an opportunity. But yeah, I thought that was like perfect vibe to A, start the movie, and B, kind of have this movie kick off my like spooky season and give me those like Halloween vibes. So I really, really enjoyed that. Kind of the whole intro, I really enjoyed. I don't know, this is probably a weird thing to think of, but when the TV, like when it first comes up and it's just like the TV and the news ad, all I could think of in the back of my head was In My Fair Verona, because all I could think of was Romeo and Juliet, the intro to like The Last Berman, like that's all I thought about, because they do the exact same thing with the television, like in the news on. But it was kind of interesting because I thought that was also like probably the best shot scene in the whole movie. Was that TV. Like, it just looked really good. It looked like an ad or something. Like, it could be an ad for the film or something like that.
Yeah, it did look good.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie. What I had written down at first for my favorite kill was literally that. And I'm so glad I changed it, because I'm just like, I'm famous for fucking stepping on your goddamn toes every time.
It hurts every time.
Listen, I can't dance, sorry.
So I kind of felt, instead of saving it for later, kind of starting off, just having a conversation about Art, our boy Art the Clown, who, with, TikTok, Instagram, I feel is like quickly kind of rose the ranks in like the pantheon of iconic horror villains. And I was really trying to think of a list, and I couldn't really come up with much, but I'm just curious on your guys' opinion. Like, is Art the most iconic modern horror villain that we've gotten in, say, the last 10 years?
I think you may be right, because I feel like part of it is, this kind of exhaustion where everything is just like recycling and repurposing things, so you're only getting new iterations of things that already exist. But it's very hard to think of like something, and I mean, I guess because social media makes it feel like there's more of these movies than there is. Like, I kind of thought there was like 4 of them.
Well, I mean,
I was like, I feel like I've seen this everywhere, but that's such a good thing, because that shows that, like, he's got that, like, foothold in the cultural, like, conversation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's how you become iconic. Like, think about it. Like, how else do you do that in the 2020s?
Yeah. The
You're
only
on
other
Instagram,
one
you're on
that
TikTok.
like comes to mind for me, it might be, in the last 15 years, but Trick or Treat, Sam. I think is also like, really popular. Like whenever we go to horror conventions, there's always like at least one person dressed up as Art the Clown or the pale girl from the second Terrifier. But yeah, there's always people dressed up, and you do see a lot of Trick or Treat like merch. So I would say those are 2 of maybe the most iconic in the last 10 to 15 years. But I love Art the Clown as a villain. I mean, he's a clown, and we do have like killer clowns, and we've got like Pennywise and everything, but he's different aesthetically and personality wise. He's darker. He's got this sassy and corny persona while being a total nut job. There's something different about him.
Yeah, I would just say Art loves being a dick. I mean, it's pretty clear. Like, the first time I watched
it's
this,
true,
it's just like, wow, I can't believe how much of an asshole this guy is. But I still find a way to love him, even in his sadistic ways.
Yeah, he's very trolly.
Nobody really modern-wise really stacks up to him, other than, Sam, so...
Yeah. He's a menace.
It's so interesting because it would be so easy to kind of, I think, make him like forgetful or kind of bunch him in with, like you said, like Pennywise, and we've got like, killer clowns from outer space, which like usually when we see clowns in horror, it almost like really plays into like colorful, like silly, like kind of these like flipping these happy aspects of clowns into like, oh, it's happy but scary, where I think it's like really interesting the choice of like him being like black and white, pretty much not even just color tone wise, but as a character, like he's just like evil. Like that's pretty much it. Like there's not a lot of depth there other than he just wants to fuck shit up. Like he just, like, I think you had it right, Anthony. Like he's just a dick, which, and then Mike said a troll, which is perfect for, our social media age of just, becoming a meme, I guess.
That's profound, Rowan.
I know. I sometimes I come up with smart things. Me smart sometimes. Now, I'm curious, Mike, I know you said that this was your, first time seeing this, and this is kind of for everybody, but I'm kind of assuming, Anthony, like, have you guys watched All Hallows Eve, like the first film with Art? or I guess the first full-length film.
Yeah, I have watched it, and it's kind of just like an anthology with VHS tapes. But yeah, it was actually played by a different actor as well, so it kind of has like a different style and look to him and actually personality than David Howard Thornton did in Terrifier.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, and I'm assuming Mike had no idea. So.
No, literally, like, as I was pulling up,
I definitely recommend anyone listening. I thought All Hallows Eve, like, I remember watching it, I watched it, like, before Terrifier came out, and I had no idea what it was, and it was, like, on Tubi, and I was like, yeah, sure, I'm doing something else, and I remember it being, like, far better than I thought it was gonna be. I'm a fan of anthologies anyway, but I was like, oh yeah, like, this is pretty good. But I think you hit it right on the head. Like, the guy that used to play it, like, he's kind of, like, beefier, and it was kind of more like, almost like a Leatherface presence or something. I found the older versions of him, where it was, like, more of a physical menace than kind of, you know, this almost, like, whimsical, I was going to say clowny, but it's like, that's a bad one.
Yeah, I would say, actually, David Howard Thornton, who played Art, he actually had some mime experience, so that kind of played into him.
Oh, yeah, you could tell.
That's cool.
Yeah. The, like, physicality of it was very spot on.
Yeah, I think 8 people auditioned for the role of Terrifier. Well, he was the 8th one, and then they just had him doing, like, you know, show us how you would kill somebody or whatever, or cut their head off, and he just nailed it. So they just were like, all right, you're the guy.
It's, like, crazy how, like, fate works out like that. Because, like, really, without him, like, I don't think it would have that presence or, like, have that lasting power. And that's really, I mean, you know, even movies we've talked about, you know, I think, like, you know, Hellraiser or something like that. Like, if you don't have the right casting for that villain, especially, like, a villain that doesn't talk much or is silent.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's gotta be the right casting in order for that to work.
Yeah, you could say, Jackie Earle, who played Freddy Krueger in the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street. You know, it's big shoes to fill with Robert Englund, so you really got to nail that. I would agree.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Oh, geez, don't bring that up. That's just that's sadness. I mean, on paper, Jackie Earle should have worked. I mean, it's Jackie Boy, but yeah, I don't know when we'll ever get to that one, Mike. That might be a Mike pick someday.
Oh yeah, that's gonna definitely be a Mike pick.
Just because he hates us, so.
I mean, speaking of trolls, right? I'm a clown. Why not?
Yeah, maybe. This one, I had a question that was kind of pointed, I think, more at Gill. But Gill, I was thinking of, you know, if you don't know already, Stream Screams, you get it exclusively on our Patreon if you sign up. But I was thinking, you know, me and Gill keep reviewing these, like, really bad Tubi movies. You know, a lot involving hand puppets and things of the sort. But I was kind of thinking, like, just the way that this is filmed and the grindhouse look of it and everything. I was like, this looks like a lot of the Tubi Stream Scream stuff we review, but, like, this is how it should actually be done.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the length of it, perfect. Like, I think, you know, these kind of movies we always talk about, like, there's always a tendency to want to, you know, even though you're gonna go bigger, better, you know, like, but just stretch it out, make these movies, like, you know, 2.5, 3 hours long or something, where, you know, we always say it doesn't even really matter the type of movie. We always seem to come back to, like, you know, an hour, 20 minutes, hour and a half. That's, like, where you want to hit for, like, the perfect slasher horror film, you know, in and out. Let's see the kills, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I just like the execution of this, just chef's kiss.
Yeah, I agree. And it was also a Kickstarter project and had a budget pretty low, like $35K or something. And, like, part of the film's purpose was to give Art the Clown more of a story and showcase the practical effects. And I think this does just that. Like, we get some very little to remain mysterious insight into Art's character. We see him in full action, massacring and being a total fucking menace. And then the practical effects, which I know, Rowan, you're gonna probably talk about this, were the shining element of the movie for me. I think they did a really great job with the gore, especially with that low budget. And, you know, if I contributed to the Kickstart project and I got Terrifier in return, I wouldn't be mad about it. So yeah. I think they did a really good job.
You know, this definitely shows you what you can do with like a little amount of money. And yeah, I mean, let's talk about it. Let's just talk about it. The practical effects. Like, Jesus, the podcast might as well just be named Practical Effects for how much we just rag on. Stop using computers. Just go practical. And everything will be all right. But yeah, like, amazing. I mean, obviously, you know, Anthony brought up the iconic hack job scene, which is like a feat in its own. Like, I'm super, like, that's like some fucking The Thing, you know, quality practical effects. Because some of the shots, like, I didn't really know how they, like, pulled it off to still make it look real and feel real. With him, like, so close up to it, because that's always another worry I find, where I'm like, yeah, this looks really good at this, like, wide-angled shot from far away, but then when I get close to it, it's like, oh, yeah, this is, like, cheap rubber or something, but, like, they just managed to make it look gooey, and just look awesome. I mean, maybe not as gooey as, whatever intestinal issues Art had going on when he's smearing shit all over the place. But if it was shit, I'm still not convinced. I thought maybe it was like some black goop possession stuff going on there. But yeah, just how did you guys feel about the effects in this and the practicalness of it?
Yeah, I mean, the practical effects were one of the main sticking points for me. Damien did just such a tremendous job with all the kills and everything that was involved with it. I'm a big proponent of practical effects as well. The Thing is like one of my favorite horror movies of all time. So you see they try to do a prequel movie with CGI. We see how that kind of turned out. So, I mean, I think practical effects are king, and yeah, Damien nailed it in this one.
You've already won Mike over, I can tell you that, with The Thing being one of your favorite movies. I don't know if anyone preaches The Thing to me more than Mike, so...
Listen, there's about 500 reasons to love that movie. Not the least of which is Mr. Kurt Russell in his prime.
Oh, yeah.
We better get off this topic before Mike heats up over there, so...
Oh my god, shut up. I hate you.
Another thing I wanted to bring up that really impresses me is Paul Wiley's score for this. Because... I'm surprised, like, I didn't really, like I said, I've seen this a couple times, and I guess I've never been listening for the score, where, like, when we watch these for the show, I'm, like, trying to, listen and watch for everything, and, like, really good, a lot of hints of, like, I found, like, a lot of John Carpenter hints, there was definitely, like, some keys and stuff that were very reminiscent of Halloween, but yeah, just, like, really, really strong score. Enough that I'm like, yeah, I'm going to have to get this on vinyl or something.
The vinyl is a must. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's definitely out there. You can buy it on vinyl.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, our resident Terrifier expert has confirmed, so...
And it is also on Spotify, I just found out.
Oh, so. There you go. Well, I know what I'll be jamming to. But yeah, did the score work for you guys?
I loved it.
Complaint, yeah.
Even from the opening scene, I was like, damn, there's some bops in here.
And I mean, it's very clearly like emulating / homaging / riffing on, all the 80s slashers. So you gotta have like a synthy score if you're gonna do that. Like, it's just a given. And the good thing about a synthy score is that A, it's like cheap, like you don't need a lot of equipment. And B, I say this as someone who is obsessed with them, and you could just plot me down and, like, give me a 40-hour playlist that's just all random synth scores from obscure movies, and I would die happy. But, like, the bar is so low. They don't even need to be that technically good. Like, it doesn't need to be something that's going to win an Oscar. Like, just give me a, keyboard banger, and... I'm fucking good, and just riff on it 4 or 5 times throughout the movie, change a couple of the notes. I'm fucking happy as a goddamn clam. Like I said, I say it with love. But the bar is so low that you really can't fuck it up, with all due respect.
I'd agree with that. A good score is always hard to come by, like you said, anyway. So I got to get into a little bit of controversy. We can't just always say the good things. But I was very interested. We've had this conversation before, not for a while. I think we haven't had it since Exilia was a regular on the podcast. And that is, this chose to kind of subvert the expectations of a slasher movie where we have Art pull out a handgun and use a handgun. And I'm interested in this because I remember last time having this conversation a couple years ago. I think it was pretty passionate. I think Mike had opinions on whether or not you're allowed to have a handgun or other weapon in a slasher movie, or if it needed to be some sort of knife type object. I think hammers are okay. I'd say saws are probably okay, but pretty much
saws are okay. Crossbows and arrows I will also accept.
But yeah, I'm just curious. Do you think the handgun works, or is Art better off maybe just keeping it to the tools in the tool pouch?
I kind of agree that, the gun it's kind of a low thing for him to sink to, but because he does kills so well throughout the movie, different weapons, different ways of killing people, and they're executed so well, and, there's a lot going on, that maybe the gun makes a little bit of sense because, he's doing everything.
It's forgivable, yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of fucking funny when he whips it out. And then when he runs out of bullets and he goes, oh shit, like all my bullets are gone. Like, I think that was hilarious. Like, he's so inconvenienced by it and makes a big deal of running out of bullets when he doesn't need that gun in the first place, So maybe it shouldn't have been there, but I think it's kind of a funny touch. What do you guys think?
I mean, I'm on record as saying guns have no place as a murder weapon in a slashery type movie. But you know what? Like you said, it's definitely forgivable because the bar is set so high by the other kills that it's like, okay, listen, that's fine. We're just using this to propel this forward a little bit, you know what I mean? So, yeah, it's fine. I was like, okay, where the fuck did he get that goddamn gun out of his sock? Like, please, where did that gun come from?
It was in his prison pocket.
Sir.
Prison pouch.
Oh, let me tell you. Okay, well, we're gonna go back to the scene with the wig and the... No.
Oh. Yeah.
But yeah, listen, guns, it's fine. Like, it only happened twice. If it was like the whole movie, I would be like, listen... We're done. Yeah. Divorce.
And, his last weapon, besides his hands, I guess, was the truck. So, yeah, he's very resourceful, that clown. Did you have something you wanted to say, Anthony?
Yeah, I would just say, I would agree with you guys where it was like, at least the first time I watched it, it's like, you got to be kidding me pulling out a handgun on this. It's kind of cheap. But the more I think about it, it kind of makes sense for his character because he's just that much of a dick. Like, he does not care. He's going to find a way to kill you even if you think you're getting the upper hand. And I feel like that kind of gives you a little bit of shock factor when you're watching it as well.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's something you definitely don't expect. I'm a big proponent of not having my slasher, monsters be using guns either. But, I mean, I think it kind of works for Art.
It does, and it definitely has that moment, like you said, of, shock because you're really not expecting it.
Yeah, and I asked the question, but I also agree with Anthony. I thought it fit his character because I'm like, oh yeah, this is a dick move. Like, I'm this slasher that taunts you with, a hammer, but then I just have a gun the whole time and I'll just quickly kill you and shoot you. But I have also been on record that I'm usually not a fan if the movie kind of is in that slasher form, that it stays away from weapons like that. Which he uses the weapon on, one of our two unsuspecting, or what we think is the only two unsuspecting kind of victims going on here in this house. I was kind of curious how you guys felt about, this film kind of uses a protagonist switch pretty, late into the movie where we really think that we are, you know, following these two girls in their night. And, you know, obviously we off Dawn, you know, fairly quickly. But yeah, it's kind of set up that we think that Victoria is going to be kind of our final girl. And then we get the handgun. And then we get the switch where it kind of goes to Tara. And yeah, I was just curious how you guys felt about the switch so late in the film.
Sorry, wasn't it Tara in the beginning?
It was Tara in the beginning. I knew one of them were sisters. Just switch it around. Pretend that I said it the other way.
Yeah, the fact that they did that kind of reminded me of Trick or Treat, but bloodier. Just because they kind of, you know, have the flash forwards and then it all kind of wraps up in the end and comes together. So yeah, I thought that was really cool. Also kind of reminded me of, sorry, I'm like dying over here. Also kind of reminded me of Nope. You know, the lady who gets her face mauled by the monkey. It was very similar to the way Victoria looked, you know, after a year of recovery from Art the Clown.
Yeah, I remember seeing this for the first time, and I thought that was pretty effective, just because I think when you throw something like that, like we've kind of invested so much into a character, and then they're like, nope, guess what? That character's dead now. I think it's a good way.
But I mean, you know that's going to happen anyway.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
Like, literally at the beginning, they're like, this is the only survivor, and it's very obviously not her.
I mean, they kind of look similar, but yeah. The other thing is that, like, every character, every victim is so fucking incompetent. The whole time I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? You're gonna die.
This would definitely not pass Exilia's test that she used to do, where she would just get angry at all the bad decisions characters make. And her number one pet peeve, cell phones that never work.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know, I live out in the boonies, and there's lots of times my phone doesn't work in places. So maybe a little more real than people think. Yeah, I'm looking at my other notes. Like I thought the location was pretty interesting. I mean, obviously pretty cost effective, where this is pretty much shot all other than the pizza shop in one location. Even when they want you to think it isn't, because there's no way that morgue was not in the exact same location. It's like the same shitty walls, and like I was just like, if this morgue is in a hospital, do not, and this is what the hospital looks like, do not take me to it ever.
Dude, I think that's what the morgue looks like in my hometown.
Oh my
God. Sorry, Mike, what?
No, I was just like, you're gonna get an infection going into that hospital.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I just thought it was kind of cool. I mean, creepy warehouses are always, you know, creepy, I guess. I did...
Creepy warehouses are creepy.
Are creepy, yeah. But the only thing I didn't overly like about it was I thought they kind of didn't use it as well as I would have liked. Like, I would have liked to seen, like, multiple floors used multiple times. Like, they really only stayed in, like, 2 rooms, it really seemed. Like, this garage-type area. We go down the sewer a little bit, but or a basement area, which is, I mean, getting into that is kind of my whole...
The tunnels at Mon, it looked like, but anyway.
What did you say?
It looked like the tunnels at Mon.
I was just gonna say that. There's like a really niche
building.
thing here. Yeah, those look like the munnels, especially the pipes.
Yeah.
When, you know,
and you can like smell
lady.
the asbestos, yeah.
Oh my God. Memorial University.
I think for Halloween, Mike should just dress up as Art and go into the munnels and
I love that, dude.
Just hang out.
That will be my last episode because I will get arrested. Listen, but that warehouse was giving me like vibes of like I don't think it was the like building itself, but it was more like the building and the weird filter, which we will definitely have to talk about. But it was giving me vibes of like a Fulci movie or something. Like this rotten, crumbling, weirdly lit building that doesn't make any logical sense in any way whatsoever.
Yeah, I can see that, but I always feel like it would have to be
building.
More rotting. Like, I feel like it wasn't rotted enough.
Oh, no, you're right. Because there were some rooms that were, like, pristine. I was like, okay, this hallway is literally out of a, like, condo. And then...
like an office building.
2 minutes later, they're in this room that's, like, fucking bare brick walls. Also, I'm very annoyed that the bottle of bleach that was in that crazy lady's room never came to fruition. I actually wrote a note and I said Chekhov's gun bleach bottle because I thought for sure that was going to be what made her face melt. Because there was always this, like, fucking bleach bottle in the background of every shot of her, and I'm like, oh my god, this is going to be, like, so important. And it just literally wasn't. I had myself convinced that the bleach was going to be, like, how her face melted.
That's really upsetting.
Yeah, it was... I mean, listen, I got the rug pulled out from under me when it turns out her face was like that because he was eating it. So, good on them, I guess. Nice red herring.
Yeah, I did forget about that, so... that he ate her face.
Yeah, they really only, like, I was like, is he eating her or what's happening? And then it wasn't until they confirmed in the morgue that, like, he ate her face. I was like, okay, yep, that's what happened.
Yeah, he was, like, picking at it after he licked it. Just want to make a connection here. The beginning of the movie when they're at the pizza shop and they're drunk and they're eating that pizza, like, it looked like good pizza, but they made it look nasty by the way they were eating it. And I want to just, like, juxtapose that with the face eating at the end. So, you know, eating the pizza, eating the face, they kind of look just as gross.
All right.
It is a full circle moment.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you're starting together. You're opening up the biggest question that we're going to ask this whole podcast, which is probably, you know, a debate of the times, is do you fold your pizza when you eat it, or are you supposed to eat it unfolded?
I don't fucking fold it.
I could do both, depending on the mood.
I feel like it has to be folded. All pizza is always folded when you eat
This man's Italian, so I feel like, you know, his say is the say.
I'm so fake Italian.
Fake Italian.
Because I've had these debates before. Like, some people are very anti-fold. I think it's a East Coast Canada thing, because I feel you got to fold it to hold the donair sauce that you have all in it. Because you're coating
donair
it.
Sauce. You are so Atlantic Canadian.
I know.
I fucking hate donair sauce.
Donair sauce looks like semen.
It looks like semen. I can't do it. Not to say I'm not going to drink semen. I just don't want donair sauce.
No, but you don't want it on your pizza necessarily.
I feel like depending
on the
better.
Context, not when you're just like eating supper. Maybe if that's part of like whatever you're doing.
It's
I don't know.
sweet, and I don't like
that.
that.
It is sweet, and that's like you expect it to be salty.
Salty because it looks like cum.
Yeah, exactly. But then it's sweet, and it's like, what the fuck is this? And it's this like weird cognitive dissonance. Like donair sauce is so fucking nasty.
It's all coming together now. It makes sense.
Yeah, it's coming together.
Rowan doesn't like drink cum, so he loves donair sauce. He's not expecting something else.
I mean, hopefully I'm not just guzzling it down, and I don't know, some guys give me like special surprise sauce. Like, this donair sauce is delicious.
I hope my dad doesn't listen to this episode.
I am totally emailing your father.
Please don't.
We'll make sure to pay to promote this episode worldwide. Mike brought up the deranged woman. So this was kind of my contention in this film. I didn't think this character worked at all. This is like my least favorite part of this. This really feels like he just was like, I'm gonna throw a bunch of shit at the wall and see what sticks. Because I just kind of thought, I was like, if you took this out, would it change anything? And it's like, no, not really.
Not really.
But we wouldn't have Emily who serves.
Shut up. It shows that Art has mommy issues, maybe. So maybe there's, you know, some foiling there. But also, maybe she's supposed to act as our red herring, because maybe we're supposed to look at her and be like, oh, she's crazy. She's part of something going on here, and she's not. So, I don't know. But yeah, she was pretty boring.
Yeah, I would second that. That was like really the only part of the movie that kind of really didn't hit for me. I mean, I thought it was kind of fun to see him rocking this baby doll and sucking on the thumb and stuff. But yeah, it didn't really do too much for the movie.
I feel like it was maybe just a little bit of like padding to kind of like get it to like feature length maybe. And it's fine. Like, I didn't hate it or anything, but it's like it didn't really serve that much of a purpose either.
I definitely I'm not like, oh, this just ruined the movie. Like, let me just throw it in the garbage.
And she had beautiful cheekbones too.
Who, Emily?
Yeah. Or not Emily, but Emily was serving. No, the lady. I can't remember if she even had a name. Emily, I'm obsessed with Emily. Like, when she got the blood all over her, I want her to come back in part 2, bloody, getting revenge for her mother.
What the fuck?
Shh, don't tell me what happens.
That'll be like, the Asylum will make that film. It'll be a Megan ripoff.
Oh, I need it.
And it'll just be called Emily. I just kind of felt like, I know, you know, he definitely probably wanted to do the art wears the skin gag, but I was like, you probably could have done that with like any of the other characters. You could have skinned them, and I guess, you know, it's been a while since I'd rewatched it, so I had thought like that had more to do with the story. I was like, oh yeah, I think there's like some weird exposition or something. And then, yeah, it didn't really seem, I kind of, you know, as I keep alluding to, because Anthony really hit this on the head at the beginning, is just, you know, I thought the whole like rocking the baby mummy issues was just Art being a dick. He was just like...
For show, to like lure her in.
Yeah, like, I'm just gonna troll this woman because she's deranged and I'm just an asshole. So... I love my asshole characters. What can I say? Yeah, all I really else I had for notes is I did audibly laugh really loud when he pulled out the clown horn on her. Did the old honk. Gave me some good Tim Curry Pennywise vibes there. So I think clown horns are hilarious.
I have a question, because I was looking around Letterboxd and I noticed that people are pretty split. Some people are referring to this as glorified torture porn. What do you guys have to say about that?
I mean, it feels almost like it's riffing on that to me, because it really is campy and doesn't take itself that seriously. I don't know, maybe that was just my kind of like reading of it on my first viewing. But I was like, this is... And when torture porn was kind of like a thing that was being thrown around all the time, like that was a time when horror movies were constantly coming out in theaters, and like that was huge. Like every couple weekends there was like a new horror movie, and you know, they had like a lot of cultural cachet, and you know, that was when people were going out to the movies a lot, because like, you know, you didn't have 8,000 streaming services. And I felt like this was like just trying to, like, in a really low, no budget way, like recreate that experience, but in a very like knowing kind of like wink wink. So I don't know, I think torture porn is film that takes itself very seriously, and I find this doesn't. So to me it doesn't meet the like criteria.
Yeah,
I don't know, maybe that's just my reading of it.
No, I like that.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Mike. I mean, you can look at movies like Human Centipede or Hostel, and they have kind of such a different vibe, whereas I feel like this is just trying to capture that same 80s slasher vibe. I mean, I know that's, from what Damien said in interviews, that's one of his big things, was kind of like this nostalgia for him, so he wanted to do his own thing. And I mean, like I said, I think it just brings it back to like the 80s slasher movies.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think definitely... you know, there's definitely not a lot of butthole sucking like Human Centipede. Yeah.
I wanted to hear you say butthole sucking tonight, so thank you for taking that box for me.
Do an existence thing there.
Well, yeah, I should you know, no pun intended, pull out of that, just because we'll get Mike thinking about puckering buttholes again. Yeah, we might get a audible moan on a microphone.
Me, cut that out, bro. Not on your life.
I get where some people could be like, oh my god, like torture porn, like this. But yeah, I agree. Like, to me, it's way more reminiscent of the 80s. I don't think it relishes in kind of like the agony that people like experience in like real torture porn movies. Like, none of these scenes are overly like dragged out.
Yeah,
you know, it's not like, oh my god, this is still going on. Like, maybe if he was sawing her and like, you know, 4 minutes later we're like still cutting into her and he's taking breaks and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, I think this is more just like, what's a cool kill that we can do that hasn't been done before.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I definitely agree with that.
And you don't get to, like, I feel like there's not, with that one exception, because that's obviously meant to be the like violent centerpiece of like all the killings, they don't get to react to it a lot, because they do die fairly quickly, even when it's something like, I'm sawing your head off for... You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like the reaction is kind of like what makes that very like torture-y. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that there is much of a reaction. I just feel like, and sometimes we don't even see it happen. Like the jack-o'-lantern head, like that's just, we see the afterwards, right? So, I don't know. I think that might be going a little too far. But it's subjective, obviously. You know, some people are very sensitive to that. So, yeah.
100%.
I like how agreeable Mike is. He's like, it's not this, but you know, if you agree with that, then that's okay too. Just trying to win over all the audience.
Just trying to be respectful.
I'm being respectful. Thank you, Jill. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Every now and then, I'm not a complete troll. Sometimes. Only to Colton in the group chat. I wanted to say that another one of the reasons why I like this movie was because, especially with like the filters and the score, it made me think of, and I think this was fresh in my head because I saw today that there was a trailer for, speaking of torture porn, the Eli Roth, is it Thanksgiving or whatever? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And this movie made me think of the trailers from Grindhouse, where it was supposed to be parodying movies that weren't going to be real, and then several of them got made as real movies. But it was very much like Hobo with a Shotgun type of vibe, and I really enjoyed that. I just wanted to say that it made me think of the Grindhouse trailers, so that's why I was like, it's not too serious, because clearly it's kind of, like, laughing at itself.
Yeah, just to add to that, I actually remembered something. Can we talk about the tricycle scene?
Yeah.
Talking about not taking himself too seriously. He's
Yeah.
killing all these people, cutting them up. And then he's just riding around in a tricycle, messing with the bell on there, just fucking with whoever's there. Or then he's like flipping off, was it Tara or is it Victoria? Yeah, he flips off Victoria after she stabs him in the foot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That one cracked me up.
Yeah, I love like just the like pure memification of everything he does.
Yep.
It's very like slapstick.
Which, like we said, just, this really doesn't take itself serious enough, I think, to be warranted as something torturous. Like,
well, you telling people
hostile.
on Letterboxd. That's all I see.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go comment on people's stats that you're an idiot.
Exactly. But respectfully.
Yeah, but respectfully.
Yeah, respectfully.
You're dumb.
Yeah, well, if that's all our points, are we good to go into rating this fella?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So if you're new to the show, our rating system is nay, okay, yay, or slay. Anthony, you're the guest. Kick it off. What would you rate 2016's Terrifier?
All right. So for me, I'd give it a slay just because of the innovativeness of it, the kills, just creating a whole new horror icon is such a big thing. So, and it, like I said, the kills that were done in this movie really kind of shocked me and surprised me because I've never seen it before. So for me, that's a slay. I mean, yeah, there's some stuff story-wise, but a lot of the meat that's there is just really good.
The meat.
That's right. Good enough to eat right off your face.
Yeah.
How about you, Jill?
All right, I love me some Art the drag queen thriving in that wig of real human hair and scalp. I love me the pizza owner. He's a real New York City Italian. He's working over here and he gets turned into a jack-o'-lantern. I think it's a fun horror movie with interesting kills and it's a laugh. It's a good movie to put on when you have people over, hence why I've seen it in that setting so many times. It's got shock value, great villain, love the practical effects, the soundtrack, all that. But I personally prefer Terrifier 2 over the first one, so I am going to give it a yay.
Oh.
What about you, Mike?
Okay, so while I was watching it, I kind of like bounced around. I don't know, for the first like 45 minutes, I couldn't really pin down my thoughts on it. And I was like, I can tell this is going to be an okay movie. But honestly, by the time I finished it, I was like, no, it's a yay. It's just so much fun. It's so campy. But like, it does have all of these like really cool effects, and everything that's done is done on zero budget, but like with style. Like, honestly, I loved all the costumes. I thought everybody was serving cunt. The music was great. And again, like I said, maybe that's my absolute, obsession with a nice 80s synth soundtrack. But yeah, I just thought it was such a fun movie, and like, is it the most groundbreaking thing ever? No, but honestly, I think that it was really commendable of them to throw back to that type of grindhouse movie that people want to just go to in theaters and just like tell everybody how disgusting it was, even if they hated it. And I'm like, I feel like there hasn't been something like that in a while. It's just like, it's just so pure and simple, It's just like, what it is there. It doesn't pretend to be anything else. It's not trying to make some grand statement about anything. It's just like pure grindhouse, like schlock. And I think I just love it. I think it's great. It's not a sleigh, because again, there are problems with it and stuff. But yeah, so I was like, Art the Clown, Shantae, you stay. Ro?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of on the same page as Mike and Jill. I'm sorry, Anthony. I'm gonna give it a yay. I do like this. Like I said, I visited this a couple of times. I kind of feel like this is a situation like my dad can beat up your dad, because I'm Tim Curry Pennywise all day. So Art the Clown ain't got shit on my dad. But yeah, no, I think it's fun. It's enjoyable. The score bangs. Like I said, I just can't get over how I haven't paid attention to this score other than this time watching it. But I can't say this is one that like I'll necessarily watch all the time or reach for. There's other slashers that I do like a little better than this, so I can't give it like a ultimate slay, but a very strong yay. It's on that like borderline, so I think that's what I'm gonna have to give it. You know what? I think a slay and 3 yays. That sounds better than what some of the people on Letterboxd are giving it, according to Jill.
That's extremely respectable.
Yeah, very, very respectable for all sides. So we told you what we thought of the film, and we asked you what you thought, and we did get some answers in. So we had G.Y. Lee. I'm just a white guy that can't say complicated things. They're always listening to the episode. I know that, so they already know I'm just a piece of shit with names. But they wrote in and said, as a whole package, I didn't like the movie that much. It just felt like it's trying too hard to be edgy. But I love, in capital letters extended out, love Art the Clown and his performance. So, I mean, I could kind of see, even if you didn't like this film, it's like I said, like Art the Clown is so just visually striking and iconic already that I think there's lots of people that probably, post pictures of Art the Clown and have never seen the movie, just like Art the Clown.
Yeah.
And that's, you know what? That's how you build your cult movie, so more power to you.
It is.
So we got 2 responses in over at Instagram. Holly P wrote in, Horror Hound Holly P. Ooh. I'm sorry, Anthony. I'm sorry. Holly said, it's a nay for me.
Oh, shit.
Torture porn at its finest. I know this movie is loved, but it is not my bag.
That's totally fair.
That's relevant to what we were just talking about.
That's right. Well, we said some people are going to see this as torture porn, and, as Mike, I think as Mike famously said one time, there's good people on both sides.
Literally, you're gonna go on the missing list tonight.
I know. I'm just absolutely terrible.
You're gonna go on the missing list. FYI.
And then we had Jessica write in, and she said, I love this movie. I love the 80s vibe, the pantomiming, the grit, and the gore.
Well said.
Obviously, a very loved movie for her, which, that's good. You know what? I've seen pictures of her on Instagram. I think she's part of the Terrifier shirt club. So Anthony has a kindred spirit. Just
right on.
Walking around in Newfoundland, rocking Terrifier stuff.
Well, Jessica's got good taste.
She does, because I also know that one of her favorite movies is Night of the Demons. So
nice. And
we know Mike stands Night of the Demons. So
yep.
With that, we are going to head on over to the horrific hotline. I know Nicholas wrote in, and I have no idea what he's going to say. So let's find out.
Terrifier, what an interesting pick. So, gotta be honest, I love Terrifier 2, despite it being way too long. The first one, tough. I'm not quite sure, because it feels more like a best of reel of special effects and what's his name? David Howard Thornton's acting abilities as a scary clown pantomime. And for that, the movie is brilliant. Like, the effects, holy fucking shit, that's bloody and gory and disgusting. gives you everything you want if you want to watch that. But there is not much more than that. I do enjoy the idea of killing off the girl you think is the final girl after like 60 minutes, and then with like a gunshot, which was kind of a surprise. But overall, the movie is not a film I see myself rewatching very often, especially if I have the far superior Terrifier 2 at hand. But overall, I have to say, watching it that one time, I am at a yay, especially with the gunshot kill, which might sound boring compared to like the Saw kill, but it is my favorite kill due to the surprise. But I do believe if I would rewatch Terrifier now, the first one, it would only be an okay due to, well, the lack of any form of other content, other than gore. So for that, I hope that Terrifier 2 will get like an entire episode at one point, because I do have a lot to say about that. Well, anyways, I hope you liked that movie. So you picked Terrifier 2 at one point, and I hope Colton is there, because I'm really excited what he has to say about the movie, because it is the opposite of an A24 movie, I think. Anyways, have a good one, and hear you soon.
Wow, they're
Colton getting
very
called out.
interesting.
Colton not only letting pain horror hounds down, but also getting called out. So he's gonna have some things to answer for when he comes back next episode.
We'll find out what he thinks. But I thought it was really interesting that Nicholas liked the gunshot kill, and I will be choosing Terrifier 2 eventually. I'm glad that we both like that one the best, Nicholas. So yeah, that will be on the list.
Yeah, if you want to call into the horrific hotline, you can do it by maybe call in on our phone number at 1-902-418-8620. It probably doesn't even exist anymore because everyone's like, screw that noise, and they just send us a voice note, which you can also do, and just send it to itslacespodcast@gmail.com, or you can always comment. We always post it up on Instagram and Facebook and all the other spots. And if you're not doing it already, you can follow us on social media anywhere at It Slays Podcast. We're on Facebook, Instagram, X, Tumblr, Slasher, Threads, pretty much anywhere. Letterboxd. I always forget Letterboxd. Anywhere there's a social media, we're probably there. And if we're not, we'll probably be there sometime, crashing the party. And Jill, why don't you let the people know about Patreon?
Yeah, well, shout out to our amazing patrons, Holly, Nicholas, Patrick, Mark, Sacrotype, Joy, and Carvey. And if you want to join the ranks of our patrons, mosey on over to Patreon and choose your pledge level. You can become part of our first tier, the Shade Brigade, and get access to the main show 48 hours early, access to our Patreon exclusive show, Stream Screams, where Ronan and I scour the dark depths of Tubi for the scummiest horror movies and review them. Or you can become a Horror Hound, which is our top tier, and get all those benefits, plus a shout out on every episode, as well as the ability to choose a movie for us to review. Rowan, do I hear the rumbling of some spooky jams?
Yeah, so go to Spotify to the It Slays Podcast Horrific playlist. If you have any problems finding it, you can go to any of those social media I mentioned before, and there's a Linktree link, click on there, and there's a link take you right to her. We upload scores or licensed music from horror movies we review, or iconic horror movies, or just horror movies we love. And you know what? Mike already checked. Terrifier music is on Spotify. We will make sure it's on this playlist. Because as Jill said, it's spooky season. I know I'm already, like, wherever I'm going in the car, people are listening to me loudly, listening to the theme song of Killer Clowns from Outer Space all the time. So that's the kind of dirtbag I am. So if you want to be a dirtbag like me, yeah, go listen to the playlist. And all that is really left is to announce our next episode, and it's a Colton pick, and he's not here, so I'll have to announce it. And it's been a while since we've done this. A double feature. Yeah, no, I don't hear any groans. Whenever I used to pick a double feature,
Oh no, I'm rolling my eyes. This is
everybody
fucking Oblivion.
groaned. Oh, Rowan with
Yeah.
his double features again. Fuck this guy. Colton is having us look at The Wicker Man, the original and the remake. Put those in your eye hole, really, both of them. And we'll be back in 2 weeks to see, how they fare today, whether or not they're classics or not. And I think that's everything. I did want to say thank you to Anthony for joining us. I don't know if you want to promote your socials, anything like that. Have lots of random people follow you or something.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not super involved on social media, but I do appreciate you guys having me on. I had a great time. So
yeah, we will definitely have you back again in the future. I am sure we would love that.
I do hear Terrifier 2 in the future reverberating. Just saying.
Yeah, sign me up for that. I have a different T-shirt that I can wear for that one.
Nice. It's all about the theme T-shirts too. It's just it gives you the vibe.
That's right. So yeah, I think that is everything. As always, thanks for the support. I am Rowan.
Bye, it's Mike.
It's Jill.
And it's Anthony.
See you later.
We're going to expand our weekly video segment to take you into the back shelves of your local video store. Back where it says horror videos and where kids are devouring some awful films that we call the video nasties.
Are you freebasing? Inquiring minds want to know.
I have to break free from this culture of mechanical reproductions and the thick incrustations dying on the surface.
From the prime time, yes.
Monmouth and Fletch.
The pain, I can assure you, will be exquisite. As for our deaths, come with me and be immortal.
We have such sights to show you.
Gotta return some videotapes.